Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose and you go home. So we call all underdogs, dreamers and believers. And we ask you again, one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup proper has arrived. Trinity Health Stadium in Hartford playing host to the first game of the first round, and everybody is in the right mood. It's Hartford Athletic of the USL Championship taking on the New York Shockers of NPSL. Good evening, everyone. Mike Watts, Ricky Lopez, Espin. This Hartford team, Ricky, historically has not had the best of runs in U.S. Open Cup. And yet this year, I think there's a lot of optimism around this group.
Brendan Burke had a lot of fingerprints in the offseason to bring players in. And he's looking at his star player, Michi Galina, to produce a little bit of magic because this man is electric. He likes to go 1v1 and can find that final ball in that final third. Michi Galina, he's going to be at the thick of everything, and look for him to set this tone for Hartford Athletic here tonight.
He'll be going at an amateur side. It'll be pro versus amateur in every first-round matchup, which everyone's pretty excited about. NPSL side, founded in 2021. They got a big-time goal scorer up front, don't they?
And he needs to be massive. Filippo Bellu, look for him to stay as high as he possibly can. He's sharp. He has mobility to run in behind and test Hartford Athletics' back line. He needs to be massive if the Shockers have any hope of advancing into the next round.
And here's your lineup for both sides. Hartford only has 12 pros available. Now, that means they've got 12 more pros than the Shockers, but it's thin.
And for Hartford Athletic, I do think the first 10 to 15 minutes for Brendan Burke needs to be spot on. Go at the Shockers and make them pay, put them on their heels. And for the New York Shockers, I think defensively, how compact can they be in their 4-3-3 structure?
The sun is shining on the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, as it seemingly always does. This is not unfamiliar ground for New York Shockers. They've played Hartford City in this venue, but it is an unfamiliar spotlight upon them. One of 26 debutants in this year's Open Cup. The New York Shockers are away to Hartford Athletic, and the 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is underway. Ricky, you've played in this tournament. This, I think, for all of us in U.S. soccer is a great point of pride. It's a lot of fun for us to kick off this new edition of the tournament, I'm sure, for these players as well.
It just gives players, it gives coaches, it gives organizations a chance, and that's all you can ask for, an opportunity to play yourself against the best opposition that is in our country, and that's what the Open Cup is all about. So it's going to set in for the ride. It's going to be a fantastic tournament.
We'll talk plenty about what lies in store in this first round, as well as the remainder of the tournament as we go through the broadcast here tonight. Here's the captain of the Hartford side, Jordan Scarlett. Priestess. We spoke to Brendan Burke, and he didn't really mince words. They want to come out and put their boot right on the Shockers' throat in the first 15, 20 minutes.
Said we'll have a lot of success if we do things very quickly. So the tempo of play for Hartford Athletic is going to be top priority for Brendan Burke.
Some major pieces unavailable for the group, including Samuel Carriaga, big-time acquisition from Memphis. Kyle Edwards is away on international duty with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All lopped long, the electric Michi Galina. A return from Jimenez, ball crossed through, skims off the head of Cekic. Over the line, however, the flag had already gone up. No VAR in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. One of about 100 ways in which this will remind you of how soccer is meant to be played. Don't act like you're a VAR fan.
I don't think anyone is really.
Well,
some people actually.
It was a checkered weekend for VAR usage in this country, I think. Goalkeepers Ryan Henning, 24 years old from Glenmont, New York, played at College of St. Rose. A handful of players have taken similar pathways through the College of St. Rose into this New York Shockers program. There's Joe Farrell. The Shockers, one of 7 teams to qualify through NPSL's automatic slots. It's a side with a fairly strong record in the regular season. They win majority of their games. However, playoffs have been a different animal. Reached the regional round of the NPSL twice and ran into the same Motown-shaped buzzsaw. Galena. Anderson, header flicked at by Zhang, kept in at the end line with Obalala chasing. Still, it's Hartford.
Expect to see a lot of this from Hartford Athletic. Patient with the ball, but when they go quickly and they go vertically. You have Zhang, who's going to spearhead the attack. Galena, we've seen what he's about early on. And Menace is going to be the key. How can he operate underneath those two to supply them?
Galena, ball prodded away by Beru. Galena stole it. Central, spinning. Zhang deflects calmly in the end to Ryan Henning. If we get a goal in the first half hour, we can guarantee it'll be the first goal of the 2025 Open Cup. After that, more games begin. Here's the play.
If you are the Shockers, this is not what you can afford to have happen. You have to be clean out of the back because how explosive Hartford Athletic is with Zhang. Not enough contact in the end. An easy save from Henning.
A 3-day match day for round 1. Every team from MLS Next Pro in the tournament, USL League 1, and a third of the teams from the Second Division Championship feature in the opening round. If you made the playoffs in the championship last year, you advance straight to the third round. MLS sides will join at that point as well. Ball whipped across toward Zhang. Pops out toward Maxon. You and I had a chance to talk to Afram Nezai, who takes so much pride in this program. After all, the field that they play on in Albany has his name on it. Spoke to us about some of his background getting into the beautiful game, the trips that the community helped pay for to get him down to New York City for more competitive matches, trying to give players up in the New York State capital region greater opportunity, and the Shockers have certainly done that.
What an opportunity this is to play against Hartford Athletic in the USL Championship. How many times have we seen a player take their opportunity, do extremely well, and then they get afforded the chance to go on trial to get signed with a team at a higher level? So that's going to be the message for the New York Shockers. Yes, you want to advance, but also you're playing for pride, you're playing for yourself as well. How do you showcase at the best of your ability?
I mean, go look at the depth of this Hartford team. If they spot really good talent on the other team tonight, they may not walk out of here without a pro deal. Name that comes to mind, Junior Palacios, right? Came through the Florida Soccer Soldiers, and Miami FC ended up taking a liking.
What a run they went on a couple years back.
Yes. Here's Scarlett. Grew up in the Bronx. To Iona. Through the Rowdies after a stint with Red Bulls Academy, then their second team. Bellew showing off his wheels. Scarlett's up to the task.
Those are the moments that if you are the Shockers, you can turn your defense into offense extremely quick in transitional game. Bellew, look for him to run off the shoulder of Scarlett or Fair. Once they step out, that's when you can play a little bit more direct. Just have to be a little bit cleaner on the ball.
Back to Anthony Siaha. First year in Hartford after a multi-year stint at Monterey Bay, out in California in the championship. Leading the league in saves is a bit of a backhanded compliment, but one that he duly earned last year.
Nine minutes in, Mike, we already see all 11 players for the visiting side in their defensive half. So how expansive can you be if you are Hartford Athletic? Play wide, play quickly. Tempo, like we said earlier, is going to be the name of the game to try to make the Shockers chase all over the field.
Hartford will take a Bank of America corner kick.
Corner for Hartford, and the first set piece for New York to defend. All swung through, Zhang the target, back set header. Galena, return from Marlon Hairston. Hairston once more. Skew toward Dylan Maxson. 6 years at the University of New Hampshire in the rear view. A number of players they call Clifton Park, New York, their hometown in this team. From Allen, the Swedish midfielder, applied his trade, University at Albany. Swede playing for the Danes, who would have thunk? Henning. I remember talking to Vlatko Ananovsky about the addition of a player like Temwa Shawinga in the NWSL last year and said, you can watch all the tape you want, but the difference between having 3 seconds on the ball and a second and a half on the ball because of closing speed is almost impossible to replicate, no matter how many times you see it, until you experience it. And I imagine whether it's Henning there, seeing Zhang or Galena closing in on him, or it's really anywhere in this New York midfield, a lot of them are in for really their first taste of this speed around them.
And it's one of the biggest differences as you go into higher levels of this game. Yes, physical speed plays into a factor, but also the speed of play. How quickly can you think? How quickly can your first touch be out of your body to find that secondary option? Little things like that make a massive difference, and that's the biggest thing for me going out of college, going into the USL Championship, going into the MLS, how quickly and how clean players are able to make decisions.
Farrell into Galena, circulated back by Jonathan Jimenez. Played through off the right side, squared and scored. Doesn't take long at all for Hartford to open the scoring. Abalola is first for Hartford Athletic. And the home side, a goal to the good. The first goal of the 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Exactly what Brendan Burke and Hartford Athletic wanted. They wanted to start this game early on the front foot. Watch the movement of Obalola. Continues his run, and as the back line of the Shockers are dropping off, where's the space? The cutback from Jimenez. Fantastic ball across, cool and collected finish. And just like that, Hartford Athletic have their lead within the first 20 minutes here at home.
And the 20-year-old Nigerian opens his goal-scoring account on American soil, came from the Lithuanian 2nd Division, came out of the same Rainbow Academy that's produced some big-time talent over the years, including Zhang and Osamanu, who've applied their trade in Hartford. So New York falls behind in the 12th minute of play, and it's easy to say, let's be compact, let's keep the game in front of us, but once you go a goal down, you're going to have to start making decisions.
It's going to be really interesting just to see the reaction and the message from Afram Nezai to his players on the field. What are they going to do? Are they going to step a little bit higher? And if you do that now, you afford Hartford Athletic to run in behind with that space. So balance is going to be really key for this Shocker side. And the way that you concede that goal, it's just not X and O's. You don't get broken down. It's just pure will not to react quick enough. And that's the quality of this Hartford Athletic side.
Galena, TJ Priestess making the move. Off to the stands. Priestess wants to move quickly. His dad, Tom, a 2-time MLS Cup champion at DC and Columbus. His mom captained a Southern Methodist team to the College Cup back in the day. Priestess from Ohio, came through the Crew Academy. So he was born into the Crew family. Academy Player of the Year there, but ended up going to Yale. Gets to stay close to his college home after a 4-time All-Ivy selection career. Here's Jimenez, another Connecticut native.
On that far side of your screen, Hersey having a really difficult time understanding the movement of Anderson. About the 3rd time that the outside back has been free in around the 18-yard box.
Menez finding Galena. Playing early, return to sender. This will escape over the line.
It's been the wide parts of the field for the Shockers. That's been really confusing to try to figure out. Drysdale, Lingen need to drop in and have a little bit more communications with Leon or Hersey, just to double down whether it is Michi Galena or Jimenez.
We've watched a lot of pros get ripped apart by Michi Galena, the former Young Player of the Year in the championship. Was sold to Europe and eventually, after a stint away from Brendan Burke's Colorado Springs, signed by Brendan Burke back in Hartford. Long throw, ball ricochets down, and this clearance goes off the back of Thomas Sams and out for a corner. An unfortunate corner conceded by the Shockers.
Hartford will take a Bank of America corner kick.
Floated toward Scarlett. Knocked across again. This header plucked out of the air by Henning. Great service by Anderson to tee it up. And the Shockers able to keep this 1-goal margin for now.
As a player from Harrison as well, just to get goal side of his individual marker. Sam's slow to react. Easy save for Henning yet again.
Well, we saw a goal like that over the weekend from Mo Traore in the championship from Phoenix. But
love the idea.
Yeah.
Execution lacking just a little bit here from Joey Farrell.
You know, we did have a Puskas nominee that came out of the Open Cup in Cincinnati a couple of years ago against Pittsburgh. So it's not to say don't try your luck. It's just saying you're probably going to get a couple of awestruck blinks if you get it wrong. Regrettably, Ricky, I went to look for your goal scoring record in the Open Cup, and unfortunately,
non-existent.
Similar to mine.
Yeah. So I'm sitting next to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go.
This Hartford team, on the other hand, Open Cup-wise, it's been pretty unfortunate run in totality. They haven't had trouble with amateur teams in the past, but once they get into the pro game, it tends to be a bit harder. Bring this back toward the halfway line. And there's something gone haywire here. It's a pretty intense drop ball, if that's all it is. Hartford's first ever Open Cup game in 2019 came against the vaunted New York Cosmos. Got by them, but got drilled by Memphis 4-0. Open Cup went on hiatus coming out of the COVID pandemic for 2 years, and they returned with a win over Oyster Bay United, only to fall to New York Red Bulls later. Beat Lansdowne, really solid club in Yonkers in 2023, but flamed out to New England. Then fell to the MLS Next Pro side atop a parking garage, 3-2 in 2024. Well, I know that side plays on a parking garage. Come to think of it, it may have been in Hartford. Indeed, that was here April 17th last year. NYCFC 2.
Talk about the success or lack thereof for Hartford Athletic in the Open Cup. You look at USL Championship as well. Lost their first game. But if you're Brendan Burke, looking for a reaction from your side as well. So they didn't start the season against Lexington the way that we probably wanted to.
Here's Galena, lightning, playing it across. Lola going after it still. This will be a corner. Yeah, 2-0 defeat. You could argue that was the first game played in the championship this year. The first goal of the year may actually be the goal of the year, Joe Hafferty.
That or Mo Traore's goal.
Hafferty, because I think he was trying to do it.
I can buy that.
Yeah.
I buy that.
It's kind of like playing horse, calling bank. It has to be intentional. Ball knocked through, punched at by Henning, and he was interfered with.
He's done quite well, Henning. Commanding his 6-yard box, especially with the oncoming traffic and the bodies. Not to make clean contact with the ball, which he does. He's been a bright spot for the Shockers this far. These are moments that if you are the Shockers, you need to play direct. Try to get and relieve some of that pressure, win that real estate battle a little bit higher. Filippo Bellu has been really quiet. He's a player that we highlighted for a reason. The star man for this side, get him a little bit more involved and more impactful.
We're looking for him there, simply overcooked. Scarlett dealt with it with ease. And Hairston reverses. It's Macangila. Hairston, former first-round pick for the Rapids at the University of Louisville. Went through Houston and Minnesota, then Columbus. Priestess. Give and go with Galena, cut out by Drysdale. Searching for some of these players. Here's Drysdale again. Say that didn't catch his arm. found a website he made for a college class in which he essentially was reporting elements of soccer news. Put himself as the rising star, said some had compared him to a mix of Messi and Ronaldo. I hope he got an A for it.
Quite the comparison.
Some may say,
yeah,
indeed.
The comparison.
This is a free kick, and Henning is probably going to have his hands full. This is certainly striking distance.
Dodge Ram with New York plates HJF 5570. Please report to your vehicle. That is the owner of a gray Dodge Ram, New York plates.
Ricky, get your car.
I think I drive a Ram.
No, you've got suicide doors. I know what you got.
Comfortable distance here. To go up and over the wall, underneath the crossbar, you have to think this is Michi Galina bending it away from Henning.
Galina. Well, can't win a game you don't play.
It's awkward the way that he approaches it.
How about we look at it again?
Just leaning back the whole way. No real venom or conviction. Expect a little bit better of the quality of Michi Galina from that distance.
We have 2 balls on the field. By the way, I think I should probably go back to that website for a moment because I didn't unload the entire bag. It had the player of the year at that point, to give you some context of time, as Diego Costa.
Oh, that had to be...
It was several minutes ago, as the kids might put it. That was Chelsea Diego Costa, so we're talking a decade back.
Yeah, I was about to say, what, 2014?
Yeah.
Yeah.
14 to 17. I'm just saying the internet was a far less toxic place when this when this website came into existence.
Wonder what grade he got on the website.
To reiterate, I'm hoping an A.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess I'm kind of grading on a sliding scale with the knowledge of what the website could look like with today's tools. Is there embedded video? No. We've been copyright struck? Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know. So, you know, is that a C or an A? I don't know.
A, always.
Okay. The guy's got a mechanical engineering degree. I think we can all.
Yeah.
If that's where his GPA slipped, I think we need to reconsider where we're at. It is 6:59 in the East. Sunset in Hartford is 7:01. There are players on the field tonight that are in observance of Ramadan, and so when the ball gets out, the first opportunity after 7:01 p.m. Eastern time here in Hartford, will be a stoppage to allow players that have been fasting to break fast. Spinning around is Makangila. Flicked upfield by Sams. Maybe there's something here for the Shockers for the first time tonight. Maxon off the gluteus maximus of Jimenez. Pitchforked Nearly brought down by Bellew.
First time we've seen the movement of Bellew. Playing off the shoulder of Scarlett. How do you get him on the ball a little bit more? You have to think Maxson needs to be influential in doing that, playing underneath him as a number 10.
Enticing here for Dylan Maxson. And ultimately, Scarlett won the ball. Here's the glance at the watch from the center referee. Play on. The clock just struck 7:01. It's worth noting that in the instance of game-changing scenarios, the ball going out alone does not dictate that that be the stoppage. It's meant to be at a point that doesn't swing momentum one way or another. This turned over. Bellew walks it forward. Huge scoring numbers in the NPSL, as well as at D2 Mississippi College. His last stop after time at the College of St. Rose.
Those are the moments, Mike, that you force a turnover really sloppy from Jordan Scarlett. So now you have to go at him, put him on his heels, and make something happen. But as you play negative now, that affords Hartford Athletic to get in their defensive structure.
Into the stands from Scarlett. And now that we've reached 7:02 p.m., we have officially passed sundown. Stoppage of play to allow those observing Ramadan to break fast. Ramadan in 2025 from February 28th until March 31st. Players observing cannot consume food or liquids during daylight hours, but once the sun sets, those individuals are allowed to break that fast. And so you can see the athletic trainer at the bottom of your screen is holding a gel pack. That's one way to try and speed the consumption of electrolytes and energy, but simply water, Ricky. I mean, it's really quite remarkable to see the sacrifice made during the month of Ramadan by athletes that observe. And good on everybody for taking a moment here. All the while, let's show you what did occur earlier in the match. Hartford grabbing the lead 12 minutes in at Wale Obalola.
And it's just pure effort. He stays with the play, quick to react. And as Jimenez peels off, watch the movement of Obalola. The back line retreats, so where's the space about 7 yards out. Great ball back across, even better finish. And that's how Hartford Athletic find the opening goal of the 2025 Open Cup here.
You're not managing anymore, right?
What do you think the conversation is from Brendan Burke? Is he, on the whole, satisfied? They've had almost all of the ball, really not conceded much of anything in terms of chances, but it also feels like the low, compact nature of New York has made it quite difficult.
I think it needs to be better in the final third, and that's going to be his message. Yes, he's going to be pleased. Number one, top priority was coming into this game and scoring a goal in the first 20 minutes. You do that. How do you get that second goal? You need to play quicker. Once you get higher up the field, provide width, whether it is Michi Galina, Jimenez, because that's when you've been asking questions of the Sockers the most. And then you need to get Jang involved. Only 11 touches for your star striker. He needs to get on the ball a little bit more and be more impactful in around the 18-yard box.
Opta coming away with the stats, unless you've been counting.
Counting.
Okay, you're out of fingers now. You're on to toes. That stoppage About 2 minutes will be tacked on at the end of the first half, as one would anticipate. Lola is trudging down that right wing. It's a nice crowd on hand here tonight. This venue has a remarkable amount of history to it, and it's called Trinity Health Stadium now. It was Dillon Stadium for quite some time. It was home to the Hartford Bicentennials, a project that was dedicated 90 years ago. The music lovers among us, it's hosted concerts for the Rolling Stones, the Beach Boys, and the Grateful Dead. To be fair, that could be 3 different ways of describing past seasons for Hartford at the initial going when they got back into professional soccer. They've done a fantastic job rebuilding this. It's right up against the interstate in downtown Hartford. And the crowds here have been really good. Make no mistake, the results at times have been quite frustrating. They certainly in 2020, the year that they reached the postseason in the COVID-shortened campaign under Roddy Jaidi, gave people a reason to cheer, but they weren't in the stands for it for so much of that year.
You and I have the opportunity to speak with a lot of coaches in USL Championship week in and week out. And every time you ask about the atmosphere in Hartford Athletic, they say it's up there with the best. Always thousands in attendance. That's something that if you are Brendan Burke, how do you lean into that? How that translate into results?
He said last year, it's amazing given the state of the last 5 years, how good the crowds are. He said it's unique to all the places I've been. And that alone gave him optimism that there's a good runway to get this thing moving in the right direction. To argue that they were in the mix last year to walk away really satisfied. Maybe 10 games to go. Conversation was about finding your foxhole guys, the ones that you want to carry forward into year 2 of the rebuild project here in Hartford. By the time the season ended, they went into the final match day with a chance to reach the postseason, albeit one that was stripped away from them before they ever took the field in Orange County. This gets lobbed up over Siaha now.
He was very candid on the phone with you and I about what he did in the offseason.
Brendan, candid?
Always. What he did in the offseason, players that he wanted to continue on, the players that they brought in certain areas of the field that he needs to get better at. You mentioned Cariaga. I think he's going to be a fantastic piece with this side and what they try to do going higher up the field. They want to get bigger as well. Dispe is a player that they brought over. So once healthy, start for athletic side, no shortage of talent whatsoever.
Priestess back through Scarlett. In a perfect world, you've gone from pretty unsettled center back position to having 3 that have been worthy of all-league selection at some point in their career. Farrell, Dispe, and Scarlett. Farrell had some brilliant years in Rochester, Phoenix. Jordan Scarlett, excellent, part of a back 3 that almost never came apart in Tampa Bay, but an injury-stricken year in Louisville led him to Hartford. And Dispe has certainly had a good couple of seasons, including last year in Indy 11. All the while, this New York Shockers team, the amalgamation of about a 35-player pool that's constantly, like lungs, expanding and contracting with the nature of the amateur game. Spoke with Coach Nazai, and he said sometimes kids just say, I have to work. I've got, my family's going on vacation. Oftentimes you get to the NPSL season, there's a lot of kids away from college getting the chance to play. Kids that are not allowed to play, at least at the Division I level, while school is still in session, which means this window keeps players that would be a part of NPSL or League Two sides over the summer from taking part.
I think people realize how difficult it is for quote-unquote a lower level team to come out and compete with the USL Championship team and League One team and MLS Next Pro team, whatever it may be, because number one, you don't have a consistent roster, you don't have a consistent training basis, and then you have to go out against real-time professionals that are doing this for a living, that their job is to stay fit, that their job is to stay healthy. To go out and compete in a 90-minute match, really difficult. But that is the magic of the Open Cup, because when it does happen, it's a spectacular, great ball here.
And Zhang running onto it. Zhang scores! Slips it inside the post, and Hartford has doubled their money late in the first half.
Talked about two players that can be the difference for Hartford Athletic and Brendan Burke. Transitional moments are always going to be key, and the athleticism on that front line. Watch Zhang, he just peels off. He has Sam's beat, no question about it. Great weight from Galina, and a really clever finish from Zhang. Plays it to perfection to kiss off that far post, and Hartford Athletic double their lead.
It took him a minute to get going, Zhang, when he came over to the U.S. Brendan Burke said it was actually his biggest regret last season, not starting him sooner. He ended up with 11 goals. They were in his final 18 games. He had none in his first dozen. And Hartford 2 goals ahead now of the Sockers late in the first half and looking for more. Ball bounces to Zhang, and they will bring this back.
Goal scored in the 38th minute. That's number 9, Zhang from Galina in the 38th minute.
Galina, the assist.
If you are Coach Nazai, you have to push a little bit higher, go after it. But in doing that, now you afford yourself to be vulnerable going back the other way. Sam's, Chekic, to be really in tune with their rotations, their communications, to drop off and always have a +1, because Zhang is a handful, as you've seen. But what is that balance within this Shocker side?
Bonanza seems to be enjoying themselves. They're a clam pizza away from heaven right now. And it's tough, right? Because if you're the Shockers staff, they go, we think Lexington in their 2-0 win against Hartford had a good plan. If we play like Lexington, ... But that Lexington team came into the league, and I think most would agree have one of the more promising talent pools and one of the better budgets in the league. So you can know what it takes, but it still takes the right breaks.
It's executed on game day. And what Lexington did really well, they pushed extremely high to Hartford Athletic. Their pressure was relentless, not forcing them any type of space to play in behind. Watch out.
Zhang, well.
Good idea yet again.
Indeed. Had Henning right where he wanted him, but the ball was not where he wanted it.
It's interesting, Coach Neza, he did mention they were going to go after this Hartford Athletic side. They're going to push a little bit higher and try to pick off a silly mistake in the back, but it's actually been the opposite. From minute 1, all 11 players deep in their defensive half, almost parking the bus, so to say.
He did acknowledge Said, what would it mean to get an upset? He said it would mean that our players played at 110% of their capability. Said it wouldn't have hurt if Hartford played at 90% of theirs as well. That upsets can be made in that swing. Well, free kick here for Ellen now as well.
Moments like this as well. Put the ball in the mixer, cause a little bit of chaos, and just see what happens.
Feigned in the direction of Leon, instead does put it in the mixer. Swatting at it was Hersey. That's all the winger can do with it. Somalian international, his brother playing at Portland Hearts of Pine. Came out of the Revs Academy and went on to a 4-year career that just concluded Siena last year. Turned over to Maxson. Galena, who has a penchant for making others look like they run in slow motion, looking for Zhang. And another corner for Hartford with 100 seconds and probably 3-4 minutes of stoppage potentially to be added.
Galena and Zhang have a really nice understanding off of one another. Zhang scores his goal, but this movement right here as well. Galena comes centrally, Zhang makes a run from inside out, trying to unbalance, but Sams actually does quite well to stay with the big striker.
Circulated into the path of Zhang. That was a pillowy touch. Leon. There's one thing you know for sure, it's that Hartford typically does play well at home. 9-4-4 on home ground last year. 2 goals ahead, approaching halftime in this first round Open Cup matchup. Priestess ricochets back. The initial draw covers the first 2 rounds of this tournament. The corresponding matchup is that of League One expansion side FC Naples, League Two side Sarasota Paradise. Just to say, a lot of people are about to jump a JetBlue flight one way or the other. April 1st or 2nd. 2 added minutes, which essentially mirrors the amount of time that play stopped for the break of fast for those observing Ramadan around the 30th minute.
Time after time, Hartford elects to go to that back post. So you have to think Joey Farrell, Zhang might peel off.
Looking for Makagila in the end. Soars up again, and it'll go off the top of the netting. The Shockers will have to take some risk in this second half. It's inherent.
100%. At this point in time, 45 minutes to go for the Shockers. You don't need to play pretty football. You just need to play effective football. Get the ball away from your goal. Put some pressure on Scarlett and Farrell. Throw another body higher next to Bellu and just see what happens. The pace needs to be a little bit higher as well. The confidence from players in central locations need to get on the ball a little bit more. Because now you know what Hartford Athletic is all about. You know the tempo that they're going to play at, what they're trying to do tactically, trying to spring Michi Galena Obalola as well on the right-hand side, and Jimenez has the freedom just to roam. So if you can deny the service to those three players, now you can be in business and you can get your front two on the ball a little bit more.
It's a matter of seconds that remain here in this first half. And a referee with a loose understanding of time. Galena, they'll allow this to play through, but a back pass could well end it. Priestess. Jimenez. And that is halftime with a little extra late. Jimenez comes down to Jackson Leon, knows that was not the intent. And the first half concludes here in Hartford with the home side 2 goals ahead of amateur New York Shockers.
And if you are Coach Nazai for the Shockers, you're asking your boys just to have a reaction, show a little bit of personality and fight, to play on the front foot, to play motivated and in positive manner. So expect them to be effective. And for Brendan Burke, I think the message is simple. Get that 3rd goal and this game is done and dusted.
So it is halftime here in Hartford in the first round of the first game of Open Cup proper, the 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. In a matter of moments, we'll have your first half highlights from this affair and plenty more to come. As Hartford 2 goals ahead, Obalola and Zhang in the 12th and 38th minute, respectively. Enjoy the sprinkler, everybody. Back in Hartford, Connecticut, halftime of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup first round opening match. With Ricky Lopez, Aspen, Mike Watts, what a joy it is to bring you this lid lifter of this year's tournament proper. The Shockers, their first appearance, one of 26 Open Cup debutantes this year against Hartford, trying to strive further than they ever have. They've only ever reached the third round previous. They certainly hope they'll be playing past the middle of April this year. 2-0 at the intermission. The opening goal, Adewale Obalola in the 12th minute. Mamadou Zhang in the 38th. And Hartford off and running here tonight in the Nutmeg State. I'm talking, of course, about the spice and not the move. The tecker.
The tecker. The skill.
There were changes at halftime for New York Shockers. Joseph DePreta has come in. Jackson Leon coming out. Seth Scorano is done. And Kyle McFarland, pride of Herkimer College, in off the bench. Herkimer's got a great baseball program, pretty good soccer program too. Here's Scarlett. That's the Shockers being more on the front foot than perhaps they were at any point in the first half. According to Opta, they finished with 0 shots, 17% possession, and 0.00 expected goals.
It's like what we talked about. Now, if you are the Shockers, you have to be a little bit higher, but notice how high they're pressing now with Bellew. A little bit more aggressive in their structure now, and once they force a turnover, they have to play positive. They have to play forward into their target man and have runners off of him. So you have to think from Afram Nazai, these subs are a little bit more positive mannered.
And Hartford flying forward and whacking a shot right at Ryan Henning. This deserves another look.
Really good run from Jimenez. Underneath, peels out between the right back and right center back. Henning, yet again, makes a really comfortable save.
Henning, part of the New York City 2 team that squared up Hartford and took him out in extra time in the Open Cup last year.
Last thing you want to do now if you are New York Shockers, you cannot get stretched. If Bellew steps higher, now that midfield line needs to stay with him, because this is exactly what Brendan Burke and Hartford Athletic want. They want space in between lines. Jimenez, who's on the ball right now, can afford to supply Michi Galina and Jang.
Was one major omission that deserves mea culpa from that first half. There are no sprinklers. This field is turf. Our most common sight at halftime in these early Open Cup games is that of watering the field. Referee allowing play on all the way to the point in which the ball was crossed, but an injured Hartford player away from goal causes the stoppage, and whatever advantage existed, which appeared rather significant, has been stymied.
Bit of a head scratcher here. As his ball pops out to Michi Galina. Players are calling offside. It's a clear advantage.
If you're not calling this offside,
it's a clear advantage.
I would have let that
play out. It's even a bit more confusing as the Hartford Athletic player is not giving our center referee, Jonathan Luke, pulling him for a conversation.
Ball across the face of goal. Galina tried to step out in front of his mark. Said the ball came out the other side, and there's an injured Shocker in the goal mouth. Appears to be Thomas Sams. He's up, that's good news. 2-year starter, 4-year letterman at Siena from St. Helens in England. And took a knock to the head. Came up in part through Leicester City's under-18s. Prior to that, he was at Huddersfield, club that's owned by a championship ownership group. The Nagels in Sacramento. The winner will get either FC Naples or Sarasota Paradise on either April 1st or 2nd, the second round of the event. Then comes the draw that everyone in the amateur ranks, if they can make it that far, will have circled. The opportunity to potentially see some of the best pro teams in the country. 16 playoff bound a year ago championship sides enter in the 3rd round. Then in the 4th round, the round of 32. The entrance of the 16 Major League Soccer sides will enter into the tournament this year. 96-team event this year, Ricky. One that will span all the way to the final on October the 1st. Although the summer months will provide a bit of a respite with all the soccer congestion of those months in the U.S. this year. Play essentially every 2 weeks into the end of May and the end of the round of 16. The quarters in July, the semis in September, and 2 weeks after that, that aforementioned final October 1st.
Already 6 minutes in, Mike. You start to see the Shockers have a little bit more confidence on the ball, just a little bit more. Connecting some passes, getting in some sort of rhythm.
Nice interchange for New York. Lofted through. Galena lets it run. Ooh, wow. Slaloming effort by Galena. Rare touch of the ball for Filippo Bellew. Helen, Sams. Every yellow shirt is across the halfway line. That may be a first tonight. And clipped to the edge of the penalty area. Plenty of green jerseys surrounding Bellew in the middle of the area.
Whatever the message from Coach Nazai at halftime to the Shockers really struck a chord. Completely different team that we've seen here. Like you mentioned, all 11 players in the attacking third, pressing a little bit quicker. The ball circulation's better. Now how do you test Siaha, the goalkeeper? That's the next step in the progression here.
Sebastian Anderson. Galena. Zhang was making a darting run. And Farrell squares to Scarlett. Hersey trying to run it down. Clever first touch, but no further. Anderson streaks in. Obalola lays off. Shockers 8 wins, a loss, and a draw in their NPSL division. Won the conference final in penalties over Hartford City. Lost the regional final after losing about half their starting 11 the tail end of the summer. FC Motown. We've become a bit of an Open Cup darling in recent years. Kind of highlights the difference in approach for a lot of these teams. We're going to see Des Moines Menace come out tomorrow with 7 of the 15 oldest rostered players in the first round, of which the majority of them have caps with the U.S. national team. Multiple have over 300 games MLS experience. Cutting and dipping and diving through the penalty area. Obalola sees this eke out. And then you've got a team like New York that said, a lot of this is the group that got us here. We're going to give them the chance to shine on this occasion.
It's really interesting which way is right. There's no right way, but you tend to kind of understand what the Shockers are all about. Rich Nazai was quite frank with us, saying, look, we had the opportunity to bring in ex-pros, players that wanted to play with us, that wanted to play in the Open Cup. But then that does a disservice to the players that got us here, that did all the hard work in qualifying. It's not what you want if you're Brendan Burke. Michi Galina.
I know Brendan Burke just well enough to know you do not want to see him if Michi Galina ends up getting injured 2-0 up 10 minutes into the second half of the first round of the Open Cup. This guy is the engine of this attack.
Moments ago, comes around the corner and Cekic. Maybe a little bit of retaliation for the captain of the Shockers, frustration. Good sign if you are a Hartford Athletic fan. Michi Galina on his own power.
You want to talk about a guy who gets hacked constantly. And when you're a tricky player, a clever player, that's sort of the risk you run. But Galina's ankles take more abuse than any in the league. And I'm not so sure he gets the whistle that usually comes with.
Been countless times in 2024. We've called a Hartford game. We've looked at each other saying, how is that not a foul? Michi Galina. Part of it is maybe frustration from the defenders, but also just too slow. It's just so quick, so electric, so slippery in 1v1 situations.
I mean, we just saw him deke 4 players out of their cleats a couple minutes ago. By the way, Des Moines didn't call you.
Surprising after my scoring record in the Open Cup, I know, right?
Wow. You were part of TST, weren't you, though?
I was.
Yeah.
But we lost every game. Talking about TST, you're playing this year? You had a video last year.
I did.
Yeah.
Regrettably, I think that's the week the babies do.
Oh.
So I think I'm going to have to politely decline the offer I did not receive. Galina. Anderson. Skitters inward. Dellen in the dust. Through for Galina and kicked away by Cekic. And they'll bring this back, proving that you can both get a shot and play advantage and bring it back.
Consistency is never in question with Jonathan Luke. Michi Galina just takes way too long.
Caught between two lines, maybe?
Yeah, just takes way too long to make a decision. It's in that awkward area. You don't know whether to hit it with your left foot, your right foot, so you have to let the ball come across. And Cekic just comes in. But what an opportunity this is for Hartford Athletic. About 25 yards out. Anderson standing over it. You have to think this is going to go around the wall.
Anderson chips it. Really good idea. Really well executed. Ultimately, Priestess couldn't make clean contact at the end. Someone made clean contact with him, though.
Talking about making up your mind. Priestess knew he was going for the scissor kick from the moment that this ball left Anderson's foot.
Delivery soars into the area. That's a throw. PSL season begins around this time. Nalu last year was the North Atlantic Division Player of the Year, the national champion, the Burrito Boys of El Farolito, who took both our hearts and our wallets last year.
Well worth it, though.
Absolutely, it was worth it. The Bay Area burrito chain, El Farolito, that's put together quite the soccer team. Dynamite diagonal ball. However, the touch from Priestess leads just a hair too far. I'll take you there, Ricky. I promise you. It really is different, the burritos at El Farolito.
I've heard fantastic things, but talking about El Farolito, Mike, you talk about a team that went on, great play.
Backfield didn't break through.
Went on a fantastic run in the U.S. Open Cup, and their star striker, Denbor Benson, ended up signing in USL League One. Moments like that, it really kickstart a player's career when they show up and show out against higher opposition. And that's only one of the stories that we alluded to earlier. It's a fantastic, obviously, tournament for teams and organizations to play against the best opposition, but also for players to take that next step in their career.
Well, and for some, it's trying to kickstart the career all over again. Tom Bogert tweeting about Des Moines' recent hired gun acquisition of Matt Hedges. A lot of people go, Matt Hedges is retired? He's playing for Des Moines? He is not retired. Still very much hoping to make it back into Major League Soccer and using this as a kickstart. Former Defender of the Year in Major League Soccer. You'd imagine will play a starring role tomorrow night. Des Moines against Kansas City 2.
What a game that's going to be.
Ball whipped across, and Galena didn't get it quite right. Came back toward Zhang. I mean, there is some tasty storylines in that game, to say the least. Benny Feilhaber is set to play for Des Moines, the former Kansas City 2 coach. And then there's Felipe Hernandez, who appears poised to play against his former team. This laced through and snagged by Henning, whose time may be running short. You may ask why change goalkeepers. This is certainly a showcase for all involved, and Henning may have his number called sooner than later.
I think he's been quite sound in between his sticks, Henning. secure hands, no spillage on any type of shots. Commanding his 6-yard box has been a good showing. Yes, you can see 2 goals. I think he's been a standout player for the New York Shockers here.
If you're a betting man, is there a game that stands out to you in this first round that screams cup set?
Des Moines Menace.
Des Moines is certainly one. I would say Westchester is playing tonight in a game that I think has a little bit of juice to it. That game's ongoing right now.
Chester.
Chester United, as opposed to Westchester SC, League One side. One is Pennsylvanian and proud. The other is basically a New York suburb. Speaking of West, Chester United SC, they're up 1-0 on Loudoun in the 23rd minute. Anderson, adios. Crossed through over the penalty spot, struck from distance by an ambitious TJ Priestess, who has no interest in your silly tap-ins. He's gone for a 30-yard rager, and potential scorpion. All the while, changing goal has arrived, and the follically inclined Tyler Brennan comes in off the bench, replaces Henning. This guy's got the full Tony Meola flow going on. Soccer from 4 years old, ended up at D3 Russell Sage College in Troy, New York, playing for the Sage Gators, which is to say apparently there are Gators in Troy, New York. 2.5 years as a starter there, 30 starts over the last 2 seasons, and last year was on the roster at Albany. If I see a Gator in New York, I'm running in a zigzag pattern as far away as possible.
That's what I was taught at a very young age growing up in Miami. Zigzag.
But why should I need to know that in New York?
I'm impressed you know that. Continue to impress me.
Yeah. Alligators and bulldogs. They only run straight. I'm talking about English. I imagine you're thinking French. Bulldog.
No, I know what you meant.
Sorry, Enzo. Both goals came before halftime here tonight. Obalola threading through the defense like he was avoiding an alligator. And then Zhang in the 38th. Hartford Athletic, 2 goals ahead. Perfect in their history against amateur sides. Looking to continue that. And see either FC Naples, League One team in the 3rd division, or Sarasota Paradise, a League Two team, similarly in the 4th division, like the NPSL. That's a rather obvious foul.
Just needs to be a little cleaner in the final third for Hartford Athletic. Yes, they're having a lot of success on the ball and getting themselves into an aggressive position, but it just seems to break down time after time. Michi Galina, yes, you've seen what he can do off the dribble. Not as crisp and sharp as you would come to expect. Yes, it's only their 2nd game, competitive game in 2025, but it's also an opportunity if you're Brendan Burke to have your attacking player see the ball hit the back of the net and get in a rhythm and get confidence and get that muscle memory and comfortability going. So that's going to be the message for the remainder 22 plus here for Hartford Athletic, especially the attacking unit, getting players comfortable and hopefully trying to put more pressure on the new goalkeeper, Brennan, for the Shockers.
That is Junior Morera, who's angling toward the 4th official now. Player who spent the last 3 years in the Mexican 2nd division at Cancun. Fortunately, as well as Cancun has played, and they did win the Apertura title in 2023. No promotion relegation anymore in Mexico, so did not have the chance to go up to the Liga MX. Ball across the face of goal. That's as good as it's been all night. DePreta couldn't quite get up to make contact with that.
Just look at the numbers for the Shockers. 3 players surrounding that 6-yard box. I love the movement from DePreta. Starts in front of Joey Farrow, and as this ball comes over, just peels off between him and Anderson, unable to make contact. But really good action for the Shockers.
So Morera is in. That's it for Jonathan Jimenez, Mexican-born, Connecticut native, out of UNC and through the NYC Academy. Takes leave 70 minutes in. Guy who scored 23 goals in MLS Next Pro the last 3 years gives some optimism. He'll be up for it here in the championship. This turned over to the Shockers, and Hartford is not firmly grasping it right now. This score on your screen is the corresponding game to this one, and you'll get all the excitement of being able to finish this game, the U.S. Soccer YouTube page, then immediately click over to see who the winner of this game will see, Sarasota or Naples. Of course, the great Naples United as opposed to FC Naples. Trailing Sebastian Blanco and Miami FC 2-0. Ruud Apollon coming in, the 20-year-old Haitian. Happy belated to him, 20 years old 5 days ago. Bilal Hersey comes off.
What a signing that is for Miami FC. From Sebastian Blanco, you get him, let's say 70% of what he was able to do with the Portland Timbers. Watch out.
Yeah, that well read. Otherwise, Yang was off to the races. Lingo was up to it. Oh, Brennan lost his footing on slick turf.
Not what you want. Your first action as a goalkeeper. Give credit to Jang as well. Stay with the play, win, put some pressure on the goalkeeper. Win a set piece for your side.
Ball in, this time handled by Brennan. I'm going to go 2 steps too far in describing why this surface might be unique, as it's playing like a slip and slide at this particular juncture, and a yellow card is coming for Antonio Linga, the 25-year-old native German who came over to play at Campbell and then finished his collegiate run at Siena.
Talked about how quick Michi Galina is. Exhibit A here. Linga gets caught. Too aggressive. No need to try to win that ball. Just move your feet and force Michi Galina towards the end line and make him play negative. As you try to go out and win it, you lose that foot race and you pick up a yellow card.
So set piece coming for Hartford. Sebastian Anderson probably put some real pace on this and challenge. Anderson, header down, there's Brennan, who slides down to the Corconut field surface. Here we go. State-of-the-art surface when this venue was renovated to host Hartford in the first place back in 2019 is an organic infill that is both FIFA and World Rugby certified. It's as opposed to the crumb rubber infill that Ricky probably still finds in his childhood cleats, even these several years later. The infill is actually composed of silica sand and an organic mixture of coconut husks and cork, aka corkonut, which is considered to be safer and ultimately cooler in the summer. This surface is actually the same as the one used in Brendan Burke's last stop in Colorado Springs.
And I'll tell you what, it makes a massive difference the way that it plays.
You've played on corkonut.
I have. Played in college. And it plays tremendous. The way that the ball glides, obviously footing is sometimes an issue when it gets a little later at night and a little damp, but you don't feel it. It's fantastic. A lot easier, obviously, to maintain the natural grass. But versus the regular rubber and tire that a lot of the turf uses, this is a fantastic surface.
Did I give you flashbacks thinking about the rubber infill?
You did.
Yeah.
That's the only downside of Morrison Stadium at Creighton University, the rubber, the turf that we played on.
Conversely, you'd have like 8,000 or 10,000 people coming to watch the Jays play.
That's the only bad thing there.
It is literally the only thing.
And it was interesting because our rival, Union Omaha, that was what, 5 miles away, they had coconut court on their field.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the first time I played on it.
Nebraska at Omaha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tournament bound.
They play St. John's, right?
They do.
Yeah.
Not an alum of St. John's, but I've certainly got a vested interest, I suppose, from a Omaha versus St. John's thing. I guess we're tangentially on the other sides of this, I guess.
The voice of MSG right here.
Well, very lucky circumstances tonight. The weather in New York yesterday was rough, to say the least. It wasn't all that much better this morning either, but it's turned into a rather nice day in Hartford. 51 degrees. Was some flooding through New York and Connecticut. But the rain is most certainly past now. Hartford would love to put this away now. It's a little shoulder challenge from Cheekic. And this slips wayward of Rude Pollen.
Just a lot quicker to second balls this Hartford Athletic side. There's nothing in that. Michigalina goes down far too easily.
Here is Anthony Rouse coming in off the bench and replacing webmaster Byron Drysdale. This kid did a school project like 7 years ago, and he's going to get home tonight and take that website off the internet. Sorry.
Imagine the numbers that the internet's going to do tonight.
It doesn't. Rouse initially committed to Coastal Carolina, ended up at Hudson Valley Community College for a year, and then on to Siena, Albany native, in off the bench for this Albany, New York-based club. Running the end line, we'll carry him out for a Hartford corner approaching the final 10 minutes. That was 4 subs in the book in the field but 5 in totality, including Tyler Brennan. So that is the end of the night, sub-wise, for the Shockers. And as mentioned earlier in the broadcast, there are multiple academy players on the bench tonight for Hartford due to a combination of early season injury and the international window, which has taken a player or two away from Brendan Burke for selection tonight. Corner for Hartford, header steered by Priestess. Rather emblematic touch of the night. Galena. Back set to Anderson. Is that a balloon animal in the first row?
I think so, right?
Huh.
Can't make out what type of animal it is.
Want me to make you a giraffe?
It's another one of your talents.
You'll find out by the end of the game.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Mike. Just not clean enough from Hartford Athletic. You know Brandon Burke well enough that he's not going to be happy with maybe the performance put forth. Yes, dominant all facets of the game, but again, this game should be 3-4 the amount of the ball that they've seen. Silly mistakes.
Not the cleanest night for Hartford. We mentioned it previous, only one game. They come off a bye week, actually, so 9 days since they fell on the road and sold out Lexington in their first game in the championship. Zhang making a central run. And this runs all the way to Tyler Brennan.
It's little moments like that. Zhang makes a fantastic run. But as you arrive to the ball, you have to be aware of a secondary option. Nobolola makes a fantastic run. If you just play the ball into his feet now, he has acres of space. And that's going to come with more game time and game sharpness.
Ball rolls to DePreta, former USL League II Young Player of the Year. Came at Black Watch Rush. As McFarland taken out, was the SUNY Scholar Athlete of the Year last year at Herkimer. 7 goals, 11 assists. Fantastic season for him. To be the best at anything within the larger SUNY system is to beat out something like 30 teams.
Yeah, it's impressive.
That is an enormous system of higher education. This ball knocked down in front of goal, whacked at by Bellew, but grabbed by Siaha.
I expect a little bit more of this from the Shockers in the last minutes here, just causing a little bit of chaos. Give credit to Anderson. Last-ditch defending effort to deny Bellew. Just sloppy. This time Moreira tries to play it into the oncoming path of Michi Galena.
Brought it back by Macangila. Hartford, really not a lot of depth on their bench. having to make some pretty tough decisions. Emmanuel Samadia is unavailable for selection on the weekend due to the red card, but he would have been away anyways with Sierra Leone. No Kyle Edwards. Arriaga's not available. Osmanu unavailable. Shane Beckford unavailable. They may be able to get Ribeiro and Gordon, the two academy players, in. Even Dee's pay in question despite being on the bench.
It's moments like this ball needs to go to Michi Galina. Lead him into the 18-yard box. Instead, Anderson tries to do a little bit too much and find Jang. It's been kind of the microcosm of the night for Hartford Athletic, just trying to overcomplicate things instead of keeping the ball moving.
Ball drops into Apollon. Can they get any numbers through? Siaha plucks it out of the air. Some of our esteemed chat commenters saying there's a tingle in the air. Still just 2-0. Shockers can find one, you never know. Ball lobbed through. Could this be the dagger? Galina 1v1 in the penalty area, if the ball ever got there. Axon forced it in reverse. Those blown away that the commentators can in fact see the chat. We also have the internet. "86 minutes complete here in this first round matchup. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Hartford 2 goals ahead. New York Shockers. Goals from Obalola in the 12th minute of play. Jang in the 38th. Feelings are hurt. Here's Hairston. Would like to see Ribeiro or Gordon maybe get into this game. It's worth noting. Talk with Brendan Burke, optimism around them both. Ball whipped across the face and tapped in. That's the dagger. Michi Galina finishes the job. Trademark backflip. Jang tries to copy the move, didn't quite stick the landing, but Hartford certainly has 3-0 ahead, and the second round is within their grasp.
Exactly what we've been wanting from Hartford Athletic in the final third. Ruthless, direct, aggressive. Watch the run at the bottom of your screen from Michi Galina. Slashing across that near post. It's a fantastic ball in from Obalola. And all Michi Galina needs to do is beat his mark to the spot, simply guide it in, and stick to landing. 10 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, we'll work on that, Jane. Hartford Athletic, 3-0 in the 88th minute.
And that should do the job tonight for Hartford Athletic. And there are the academy prospects for Hartford. Brendan Burke saying, I want to make the change now. Our poor fourth official dealing with this frustrating technology. And here come the changes. So Jang is coming off. And here comes Ribeiro to make his debut. Has been in the academy a long time. One of the best in the group, Brendan Burke told us. Chose to get him in, a winger. They've been playing him at right back at the academy level, but by making a change up front, you get a chance to play high. More familiar position. And then Spencer Gordon coming in as well. Preseason with Rhode Island FC, but a Connecticut kid. Is part of preseason for the reigning Eastern Conference champion. only arrived about a week ago. Brendan Burke said, if I had to throw him in, I think he'd really not be out of place. So both those guys will get in up front, and maybe they'll have a chance to make a lifelong memory tonight.
Recycling substitution for Hartford entering the game. Number 28.
The reality is the subs that just got made by Hartford really are about all they had on the bench. They got that third, ensured the job was done, and made the change. Chang and Galena both score. Obalola does as well. The entire front three tallied tonight for Hartford. They'll probably, I think to your point earlier, the scoreline might look a little better now as we enter stoppage time, of which there'll be 3 added minutes. But you did get all 3 of your primary scorers on the score sheet. That's something you can take forward into the weekend.
100%. As an attacking player, seeing the ball hit the back of the net, whether it is in training or in a game, a competitive game, to that's all that matters for Brendan Burke. You can get Michi Galena, you can get Jang, Obalola, getting in rhythm, getting confident in around that 18-yard box. Now you have 3 players higher up the field that can be a nightmare for any team in USL Championship. So in that case, Brendan Burke has to be really pleased with the goal scores and how they went about their business in the final third. I do think it still could be a little cleaner in between lines. We have to go back to the fact, Mike, that it is their second competitive game in 2025, so there is going to be growing pains. The job done, as it seems, for Hartford Athletic.
Hartford will go to Pittsburgh, then host El Paso over the next 2 weekends. And then on either April 1st or 2nd, we'll play either FC Naples or Sarasota Paradise. That game is ongoing. You're going to have to do a click or two, but it won't be hard to find on the U.S. Soccer YouTube page. It is scoreless 53 minutes in. The winner of that game faces the winner of this game in the second round. Hartford trying to tack on more. Farrell, the target, comes side toward Gordon. Tried to pirouette away with it. Brennan had it read all the way. All the while for New York Shockers, it's a long drive to and from Albany. I give them a ton of credit. They could have brought in players for just this game. They could have gone away from their model, which is giving players in Albany the spotlight to succeed on a bigger stage against some of the best, and they refused that option. And I think in this game you could say they did go down with good valor despite the 3-0 scoreline.
100%, and I do think if you are Coach Nazai, you have to be pleased with the fight, the never say die attitude. Minute 93, you're continuing to press. That just speaks about the culture, what he's building for the New York Shockers.
They're only 4 years into this in terms of fielding a team at this level.
And what an opportunity and what an experience this is to see what it takes to be successful in the U.S. Open Cup, playing against the USL Championship team. A lot of these guys, Mike, yes, they're getting paid to play. This is their only job versus guys for the Shockers that have 9 to 5, so it makes it that much more difficult to really compete in the fitness level. I think you have to give credit to Coach and what he's been able to build in the New York Shockers organization.
A glance at the watch should be the end here tonight. Comes back to Siaha. It is full time, and Hartford Athletic, a dominant 3-0 performance. The vast amount of the ball, all 3 goals on the night to advance to the second round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. In 2 weeks' time, they'll see either FC Naples or Sarasota Paradise. And New York Shockers' debut Open Cup concludes falling to the second division side on the road.
Brandenburg had one opportunity, one priority coming into this game. The first 20 minutes, find a goal and try to play them off the field. You do just that, and then it's an uphill battle for the New York Shockers because they need to step out of their shell, be a little bit more expansive, and that plays into the hands of Michi Galina, Jang, and Obalala, all three players who got on the score sheet for Brandenburg. So in that case, you have to be pleased. Job well done for the home side.
Let's show you the highlights at full time. And Hartford Athletic didn't wait all that long to find their opening goal back when the sun was still brightly shining. This is all stick-to-itiveness from Adewale Obalola.
Just wants it more first to react, but give credit to Jimenez as well. Understands that he gets to the byline, there's going to be space about 7 yards out. He starts it, he finishes it. Obalola gets his goal, and then this is just 101 transitional moments. The movement here from Jang is everything. As Sams gets caught ball watching, he knows the space is in behind. Really clever finish, calmly tucks it in to that far post. And Jang gets his goal and doubles to Hartford Athletic. And their third goal, great movement, bottom of your screen. Michi Galina gets in behind, is in line with the ball, beats Chekic to the spot, simply guides it in. 3-0, Hartford Athletic advances.
Take a look at the full-time match stats. Only one shot tonight for New York. Hartford 80% of the ball, and 15 of the game's 16 shots, including all the efforts on frame.
Yeah, 0 shots on target for the New York Shockers is what stands out to me. If you don't shoot, you don't hit the target, you're never going to score. But in the end, it was dominant from Hartford Athletic. But Brandenburg's going to take this game and hopefully instill some confidence in his attacking 3 trio.
And that concludes our coverage of this, the first game. Whoa! I wasn't ready for that. Hartford a 3-0 win on home ground. Even the mascot enjoyed it. Well, his face is kind of stuck that way. Hartford get goals from their entire front three. Obalola, Jang, and Galina. For Ricky Lopez has been Mike Watts saying thanks for watching the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Enjoy the rest of the games tonight, everyone. So long.